My father told me when I was a child, people in authority lie. And we all, if we are going to continue to live in a democracy, we need to understand that people in authority lie. People in authority will abuse every power that we relinquish to them. And right now, we are giving them the power to micromanage every bit of our lives 24 hours a day. They're going to know where we are. They're going to know the money that we spend. They're going to have access to our children. They're going to have the right to compel unwanted medical interventions on us. The Nazis did that in the camps in World War II. They tested vaccines on gypsies and Jews. And the world was so horrified after the war, we signed the Nuremberg Charter. And we all pledged when we do that, we would never again impose unwanted medical interventions on human beings without informed consent. And yet in 2 years, all of that conviction has suddenly disappeared. And people are walking around in masks where the science has not been explained to them. They are doing what they're told. They are these government agencies are orchestrating obedience that is not democratic. It's not the product of democracy. It's the product of a pharmaceutical-driven biosecurity agenda that will enslave the entire human race and plunge us into a dystopian nightmare where the apocalyptical forces of ignorance and greed will be running our lives and ruining our children and destroying all the dreams and dignity that we hope to give to our children.
Inserting needles and chemicals into people without their consent is violence. Depriving them of their basic human rights because they won't give consent is also violence. Those who promote either should be ashamed. Representative Thomas Massey.
But we need to do more. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you. If they'll not help, if these governors won't help us beat the pandemic, I will use my power as president to get them out of the way. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. Get vaccinated.
This is a red line we must resist and refuse to comply. Biden and his handlers, the COVID-19 84 Mandavaxers, have declared war on the American people, and medical apartheid is the result. It's now or never. If you refuse to stand up to this now, then you will forever be a government slave. It will never end. Never. Resistance or total enslavement are now humanity's only options.
The fact of the matter is, the President of the United States does not have this power. And I am saying to all of my constituents, to the governor of Texas, do not follow this executive order. Do not fear the power of the federal government. Stand up along your neighbors, your communities, your friends, and say no. If you're in a small business in Texas or anywhere else in this country, don't believe you have to listen to an unconstitutional, unlawful order from the President of the United States. You do not. And governors in states, stand up and say no.
Resistance is rising, and the future lies in our hands like never before.
Just to head off the conspiracy theorists, maybe we shouldn't call the vaccine the final solution.
It's like we're in the end game.
I want to assure the American people that we're doing everything we can each day to confront and ultimately defeat this horrible, invisible enemy. We're at war. In a true sense, we're at war. And we're fighting an invisible enemy. Think of that.
Today, we learned Pfizer is going to get nearly $2 billion Moderna receiving $438 million in taxpayer money. And yet both companies have said they will not sell the vaccine at cost. They're going to make a profit on it.
Works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well. And it's really saving our country, and it's saving, frankly, the world.
There was a study that came out of Israel about natural immunity, and basically the headline was that natural immunity provides a lot of protection, even better than the vaccines alone. What are people to make of that? So as we talk about vaccine mandates, I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID, I'm protected, and now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that.
These government agencies are orchestrating obedience. It is not democratic. It's not the product of democracy. It's the product of a pharmaceutical-driven biosecurity agenda that will enslave the entire human race and plunge us into a dystopian nightmare where the apocalyptical forces of ignorance and greed will be running our lives and ruining our children and destroying all the dreams and dignity that we hope to give to our children.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.